The transfer of embryos into mule mares with subsequent live births has been done successfully, indicating that mules can indeed carry foals to full term in the form of surrogate motherhood. In the 1920s, a Molly mule named Old Beck supposedly gave birth to a live female foal named Kate, sired by a jack donkey. Both Old Beck and her foal were closely studied at Texas A&M University and appeared to be normal mules. When bred again to a horse stallion, Old Beck produced a horse-like male foal that sired several fertile offspring in his lifetime. An interesting fact in the reported cases of foals from mule mares is the consistency in the appearance of the offspring. A foal out of a mule sired by a horse looks like a horse, and a foal out of a mule sired by a donkey looks like a mule. In modern times, chromosome testing tends to show that indeed, a foal by a stallion has the chromosomes of a horse, and a foal by a jack has the chromosomes of a mule. It has been thought the offspring of a mule could never be part mule and part something else. It either ended up being all horse or another mule. This theory had to be altered somewhat in 1981 when a female mule in China gave birth to a female foal. Since the father of the foal was a donkey, the offspring should have been a mule. Chromosome tests indicated the foal's chromosome count was 62, like the sire, a donkey, and not the expected 63 of a mule. Her sex chromosome makeup was also pure donkey, adding evidence that her sire had been a jack. Horse chromosomes with no equivalent in a donkey were also identified, indicating the foal was a true horse-donkey hybrid. However, the dragon foal, as she came to be called, did not have the 1-to-1 ratio of horse-to-donkey chromosomes and appeared to be a new kind of hybrid, part mule and part donkey. In 1984, a mule in Nebraska named Kraus gave birth to a male foal. Chromosome testing proved that Kraus was indeed a mule, and the offspring, appropriately named Blue Moon, was 100% mule as well. Blue Moon's sire was a jack donkey. In the late 1980s, a Molly mule in Brazil produced two horse-like foals. The sire of both foals was a stallion. Blood tests proved the dam was definitely a mule. However, each foal had the chromosome makeup of a horse. In 1989, the Brazilian mule foaled again, this time after being serviced by a jack, and the resulting foal was 100% mule. Mules are strictly man-made animals, as donkeys and horses normally don't crossbreed in the wild. The first time and place that both domesticated horses and wild donkeys were known to exist at the same time was in Nubia, Africa, around 1750 BC. It's very probable that the first mules were bred shortly after that date. The earliest known written or pictorial references to mules are around 3,000 years old. Horses at that time were small, 12 to 13 hands in height, and it was probably discovered by accident that a mare bred by a wild jack donkey produced a foal bigger than if sired by a horse. The domesticated donkey spread gradually from its earliest known location in North Africa to Persia, Greece, Sicily, Italy, and France. And as went the donkey, so followed the mule. Paintings and carvings of mules have even been found in Egypt on the walls of the Great Pyramids. Greek vases commonly showed mules in everyday activities, including mule carts filled with wedding parties. Dionysus, the Greek god of fertility, was often shown riding the infertile mule, which certainly must have been an ancient Greek joke. One vase found in Greece depicted a mule-drawn chariot. In fact, harness racing with mules was even a part of the Olympic Games for 50 years around 500 BC. Luckily, this ancient Greek sport has been revived and is alive and well each Memorial Day at the Bishop Mule Days in California.
Here they come, I see them in motion. Oh, that's about right. I mean, they got nose to nose in there. I don't believe it or not. Where are you? Oh, look here, the camera for me. Yes, hi. You're doing it. Just let it go. What? Yes, sir, gentlemen, back. We aren't finished yet. Are you all right? Yeah, my designated driver's drunk. Oh, that's good. Yeah, now, have you ever done that before? Bob, have you ever done this before? Oh, yeah. Would you like to do it again? No.
In breeding mules, remember handsome parents with good conformation will not always produce good mules, and poor-looking parents won't necessarily produce bad-looking mules. Color is difficult to predict, but if the mare is gray or roan, there is a good chance the mule will also be gray or roan. American spotted-ass jacks do a good job of producing mules with lots of color, and when bred to paint mares can produce some pretty spectacular foals. Many people believe that an American Mammoth Jack is the ideal donkey to breed to their mares in order to produce a superior mule. A Mammoth Jack should stand between 14 to 15 hands, larger sizes being fairly uncommon. Handling of the mule foal should start at birth, as this will help to teach the mule to trust people. Young mules tend to be very active and, like a human child, will test people and other mules or horses to see how much they can get away with. Imprinting, a behavioral process investigated and researched by a California veterinarian, Dr. Robert Miller, is extremely helpful in the training of a young mule or horse. The imprint theory is that during the first hour of its life, a foal can absorb much information onto its nervous system that will be imprinted on its brain and never forgotten. This imprinting process allows the animal to retain at a subconscious level the feeling of the touch of a human hand, unusual noises or sounds, and many procedures which might otherwise be frightening and cause problems later in life.
Now, I raise mules, and mules are extremely intelligent and notoriously difficult subjects for training.